was waiting. I didn't want her to.
Expose myself.
Yeah.
You should read them the question like yours.
All right. Describe what gender socialization is. Within your response, describe certain examples where gender socialization occurs. Finally, detail what gender roles are.
There you go.
Oh, nice.
It's gonna be quite class today.
It is, isn't it? So you're not going to take psych? All
I
right.
think it's interesting.
I don't think I need it.
I got you.
It's just
You're going in
elective.
business, right? Like econ? Is that what you said you're going to do? Oh, way off.
The thing is though, Bree, classes like that count as good electives for college too.
Yes.
Because they just bring in the most random electives and half time those electives, so wherever you fit as a freshman year.
Yep.
Yeah, but I don't want
I'm sure you took some classes you didn't want to take.
What's that?
No offense.
What were like
Robin,
what was like a
but-
weird elective that you had to take?
Dance?
But didn't you do that for football?
Yeah.
Don't
No.
want to hurt your feelings, but 2 periods in a row with you.
Is it tough?
It is.
Sorry.
I hear about this every day.
Why don't you
Okay,
like
this
it?
class is better than history. History.
Yeah, you don't talk in that one at all.
Huh?
You don't talk in that class at all.
I think
Because I don't like it.
What is this because they're tired?
What do you mean? You say more nurture here.
Huh?
Are you on nurture again here?
The environment in some history classes is worse than.
I just don't like
advanced
the
classes.
people in the class. The only person I like is Ari.
No, I like talking about history though.
I don't like
But I
history.
hate it.
Come on now.
I'm still in, you know.
I
I'm
only
trying.
like history with Craig Henninger.
You only like it with him?
Yeah.
He's a good history teacher. He makes me like understand without having to study.
Like when I was online last year, that was my favorite class.
Why is that?
I don't know, it was just so fun.
But for right now, I have homework every night on top of me right now.
Cool.
Right now.
Good.
My favorite was writing papers about weird stuff.
Really? Oh, Roy, you want this Penn State mini pack? There's a little sticky on the back, so you can put it over your room, whatever.
Would you like switch yours out or something?
It's so hot this year.
I had it my dad's like bar room area, and since I don't live there anymore, it's like we'll get rid of it. Looked pretty cool. I had each conference up, each team. It's pretty
What's
neat.
your ranking right now?
Like this, yeah, but it was all at college. Is a lot. It's a lot. Just a Power 5 though. Kentucky. Why Kentucky?
Better than Penn State.
They're in a different conference. Oh, go Big Blue. All right, so here we go. Describe what gender socialization is. What does it mean? Only 3 of you's in here, so please. Brianna, go ahead.
So it's like as you grow up, you learn like what is okay to do.
Okay, all right. So come up with some examples. Leah, go ahead.
Like we are Certain examples where gender socialization occurs is in magazines, toys, and even school, like you're taught like your behavior, like
Yeah.
like you have certain behavior depending on whether you're
Yeah. Good job. Good job. So.
even like colors associated with gender.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I mean, and you can even talk about like even the sports teams, like, oh, Lady Trojans, right? And just really how the outfits, I mean, if you look at a different schools that maybe make you wear these type of uniforms, it's like, oh, well, the girls get the dresses, men get like the polo shirt with khaki pants. And yeah, these are forms of roles that a certain gender has to fit into in order to meet the social requirements, I guess you could say, right? Personalities, behaviors, look, outfits. There's many different examples that you could come up with for gender socialization. And I know I showed those catalogs yesterday. Okay, when I was younger, that was like a big thing. And just looking through the catalogs, I remember my grandma, oh, just pick something you like in here.
Especially
Oh,
at Christmas,
sweet.
I always got those things for my grandma.
Oh, did you? Yeah, yeah, same here. Same here. I mean, you don't really see those catalogs really anymore. But anyway, with magazines, I mean, every month I get brochures from Dick's Sporting Goods and Cabela's
I do Bath and
constantly,
Body Works.
and you get Bath and Body Works, right? Yeah, that's a really good example of it. Yeah, pocket knives and different types of cooking things for me anyway, like outside, like grills, and got a meat smoker in here, cold smoker. I already got those though, so we're good. Blackstone, that's sweet. Yeah. While you might receive something with pots and pans. Yeah. Longaberger baskets. No? Is that not a thing anymore?
I know what you're talking about because my grandma has them, but it's not a.
That used to be a big collection thing back in the day. I remember all my friends' moms used to have that. Go nuts over these Longaberger baskets. Pretty
They
crazy.
can also make bears.
Yeah, the
My grandma
bears.
has some of the bears.
Yep, yep. All right, so I think we're all on the same page there. What about gender roles? Kind of describe that within gender socialization. Roy, I didn't hear from you yet.
You should know what it is. It's self-explanatory.
Something. Did that stop working?
Pattern of behavior between possibly carry out every
All right, yeah, good job. So patterns, behaviors, personalities that each gender should, well, I guess you could say prevails or explains or expresses, right? I don't say should anymore. It's obviously things have changed, right? Okay, obviously throughout the industrial age, this might have been focused a little more, and obviously with media being presented to children more and more. I mean, kids nowadays have cell phones at what, like age 5 or 6?
There's like some
Blows my mind.
There's like some middle schoolers that like they're older than me.
Yeah. Well, okay. I meant with like phones and everything like
I'm
that.
saying
I
like,
got
they
my
get that from
first
social
phone
media.
in-
That's true. Yeah, looks and yeah. Okay.
I
Yeah.
got my first phone in fourth grade.
I got mine when I was
4th
12.
grade.
I had to wait till I was
Because my
12.
situation was rough because I moved to Texas for long term in Texas and I moved here.
Okay.
And I had to fly back and forth. all the time.
Yeah. So you needed one then.
Yeah, they didn't give me one until they said they said. they
So I
gave
had
me
like the
one.
iPhone to say, well,
Mine was 8th grade at an LG Shine.
Mine was
That's like a
seven.
mirror in the phone. It's pretty cool. Pretty neat.
Back then phones didn't even take pictures, did they?
No, mine did not.
There's only 4.
Okay, where are we at here? So multiple. Wait. Yeah, here we go.
Oh, 5.
Yep, 5. Multiple masculinities, gender discrimination, gender stratification, and gender transgressions. So we're going to be focusing on today. I don't think it'll take the whole class, but we'll see. We'll see. Have you heard from Tegan at all? How's she doing?
I went over to her house last night.
Oh, she's doing okay?
Yeah, she's not really swollen at all.
No?
And she seemed pretty okay after, so I came over after she got home and took like a really long nap. She was like,
Oh yeah. She won't all over the place.
oh, I can wear.
Oh, that's good. I remember when I got mine out, I was all over
do
the
you know
place.
that account in the Holy Spirit Someone just made one to UVA.
What did you say?
There's a thing going on.
All right, I don't want to hear anymore.
With what though?
Like how like someone will be in the bathroom and they'll take pictures of the feet.
Oh.
Using the bathroom and post them. And now they're doing it here.
What's the purpose? They're each other's shoes.
They do.
It's invasion of privacy. I feel like we've been here for longer than a week already. I feel like it's been more than 5 days.
I agree. This week is,
No, it was going fast.
It's just been dragging.
I think so. I think so.
How many chapters are we gonna get through this month?
I'm hoping to get through at least another one. I like to get through two. We'll see. This chapter is pretty big though. No, I don't.
Do you like learn this stuff as we're learning it, or do you like know it already?
I learn it as we're learning it. Yeah, for the most part. This is the first time I ever taught sociology. My only had 2 classes, one in high school as an elective and one as a gen ed in college. Yeah. All right, you guys good with the terms here? So what do we got? Homophobia, what does that mean? Go ahead, Leah.
It's political prejudice against gay people.
Okay, yeah, good. So you're kind of looking at certain genders, and if they maybe, let's say for a male, come off as feminine, then you have somewhat of a hatred towards it. And there's many examples of that shown even in pop culture and different types of movies and shows and even readings. And we all know throughout history, many cultures and countries around the world do not, I guess you could say, respect, obviously, these types of different gender transgressions. Okay. Yeah, killed, exiled, you name it, all right? Good. Multiple masculinities, what does that mean? Roy, what do you have for that one?
Suggests that there is more than one kind of masculinity. And what is this?
Okay, all right. So we'll talk about that today, and it's really just kind of there's a book that was called Guyland, right? And it just kind of goes along the lines of what men of masculinity, what they view as, I guess you could say, essential to them, right? Of what their ideal place would be, and it's reflected amongst a lot of populations anymore. It's viewed as, kind of raise your eyebrows as like, oh my gosh. I'm sure some males today would think, well, this sounds awesome, right? This is something great, but these are different expressions, different types of ideas that I guess you say are shaped by the masculine and the male. Gender discrimination. What do you have, Bree?
And like discrimination of people based on their gender or
Okay, good job. So this kind of goes along the lines of homophobia and with gender discrimination. This is really just, I guess say, a viewpoint of looking at the opposite sex, the opposite gender, and coming up with ideas of how, or coming up with, I guess you say, phrases or language or lingo against these people because maybe of inabilities that they might have. An easy one you guys obviously might know, Sandlot, you throw like a girl, right? And it just kind of picks apart that point where there's separation between male and female. and how this discrimination in society is still prevalent today, right? There's many talks about, I guess, say mistreatment of women in the workplace, okay, sexual abuse, pay, right, salary, you name it. Obviously, employers are changing that. Obviously, through the beginning stages of industrialization, that was the case. Females and males couldn't work in the same location, same area, because females were viewed as uneducated, as that they couldn't perform the same job status, okay, job role within the said status, and that they weren't paid the same. All right, gender stratification. What do we have? Leah, what do you got? We'll just kind of work our way around again.
Social ranking where men typically inherit higher status than women.
Yeah, good job. Good job. So again, kind of going along those lines of gender discrimination and how stratification is this hierarchy within, let's say, a company, maybe a different type of, I guess you'd say, a group where males would have a higher ranking, a higher status, let's say of a woman, of maybe the same, I guess you say, education or the same abilities, okay, as a male. But just because of the gender, male might have a higher ranking or a higher class. And I know there's many movies kind of depicting of that, of maybe the I guess you say the alternate view of that, where women actually have more of a higher ranking, a patriarchy and a matriarchy, right? I'm sure you guys heard of those terms before, of where women might have that higher role than a male. And some cases is like, I guess, say modeling. You guys ever see the movie Zoolander with Ben Stiller? That kind of pokes fun at that and how males really don't see the same advancement as women in those type of roles and statuses. Does that make sense? All right, gender transgressions. What do we have, Roy?
And behaviors that are viewed as contravening gender norms or as wrong ways of doing it.
Yeah, good job. So I have a couple pictures of just, with males wearing dresses, okay, females wearing suits and ties, and it just kind of shows, kind of raises eyebrows to some people when they see that. And depending on what culture you're from or what your environment's like, okay, obviously this is something that's not new or okay, or out of the ordinary. But for many, okay, obviously this is something that where males might show more feminine, I guess, say looks and personalities, behaviors, and male vice versa, more feminine. I guess say looks and behaviors and patterns. Leah?
I feel like in the United States, though, it's very common now for like
Yeah.
business women to wear pantsuits.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. That's nothing really out of the ordinary. Nothing new. What's that? Oh
Now in
yeah.
our generation, we started the trend of guys wearing crop tops, which a lot of people are against.
Crop tops. Yeah. Skirts. Really?
Yeah, there's guys that
Harry
wear skirts and
Styles.
bras.
Look at Harry
Kilts.
Styles.
Harry Styles.
He wore a dress on the cover of Vogue.
Yeah.
Really? What is that? Little Nas?
Talking about Harry Styles.
He kind of wears some unique stuff too sometimes.
On the red carpet.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so we talked about homophobia already through the vocab terms, and this is just a hatred towards maybe gender transgressions. Okay, that it's not acceptable. It's viewed as taboo. Oh, we're using terms from last chapter, and how it's not acceptable in some societies. And we talk about that with some cultures and some countries around the world. The Nazis throughout Germany in 1940. Not only Jews were killed in these concentration camps, but people of let's say different transgressions or sexuality. All right, that's a good example of it. China, okay, not viewed or acceptable in their society either, and many Middle Eastern countries, as it goes against many of their religions, their viewpoints. And even here in the United States, there's large groups of people that aren't for or obviously do not accept different types of sexuality. All right, so this kind of goes along the lines of what we're talking about with homophobia and how, and males especially, if they're looked upon or viewed by the same sex, that they might show a different aggression and a different type of emotion when maybe being looked at of what say of a woman would be. And that's just kind of a good example of with homophobia. All right, here's an example I was showing you other by Transgressions. Okay, Now the woman with the dress on the left side, obviously we had the male with the suit and tie, and then we switch their wardrobes or outfits, and it kind of looks a little weird, right? It's like kind of raises your eyebrows. But anymore, Leah, like you said, women wear suit and tie and many office situations, business attire, outfit. So that's really not out of the normal any. But just kind of the look of it right here as they just change suit, they change outfits. That kind of is like, wait a minute, some seems a little off. Even in grocery stores, right? And even in supermarkets. Okay, men's bread. I'm sure you guys seen that before. And then obviously with Kleenex, man size. Okay, for tissue, it's like, wait a minute, what's going on here? And then obviously with different types of, I guess you say braces or arm braces. Okay, they have some for men and women, male and female. Again, they're just not, a lot of the production of this is geared towards a certain sex just because maybe a man's hand might be larger, okay, than a woman's. But in many cases, that's not the case. I know I'm very short, right? I am probably gonna fit in some of these wrist hand sizes for women. So again, that's kind of that idea. You can come up with the example with basketball, right? So with the male basketball, female basketball, I always grab the female. I'm like, oh, I can easily just throw this one around, no problem. My brother would always yell at me, "That's a girl's ball. What are you doing?" I'm like, what? I mean, you're still shooting hoops, right? Who cares? It's like that's not the same. If you go out in the park or something, play with the other guys, you're gonna make fun of you. Like, whatever. I don't really play basketball that much anyway. Plus, I would outshoot him any day of the week. But anyway, those are good examples of the differences of obviously genders
You
within
can
that
also
case.
tell with packaging, like, who it's geared towards. Like,
What's that?
You can tell with branding and packaging.
Oh,
which
yeah.
one it's geared towards.
Yeah, I mean, with that, in this case, you can definitely tell what is geared towards women and the males here with that packaging of the wrist brace. All right, I was going to have an activity here for you guys where we kind of split up just because there's only 3 people here. It'd be hard to do. But I was just going to have you guys come up with words, terms, or phrases for, let's say Roy and I are together for male. We talk about words and phrases that apply to our gender. And obviously you would come up with for female, and then you come up with vice versa. So Roy and I would come up with female phrases, terms, and you guys would come up with male terms. And we'd see how they compare or how they contrast, right? So we can do it if you want. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. What the heck? So Lee, if you want to go over, we can talk about some of these words and phrases.
Do we need to make up a certain amount or just what?
I had 10, but if you just want to come up with 5, just because there's a limited amount of time here. We'll get through it. Talk about some of that information. Words and phrases. Or, we come up with. So just kind of terms and phrases associated with it. You don't want to do it this whole thing.
We're good. We're good.
We didn't go over girls yet.
Oh, you didn't even get my emails yet?
We're just talking.
Yeah.
We were just laughing about that. And
Oh.
Yeah, you should. Oh, you did. Let me know if I see your pop out of my.
Yeah, that's
No one's
it.
recording it.
It's kind of against privacy. It's very powerful. Let's see that- let's see truly their followers. It won't be shot.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, okay, let's get to it here. So, let's hear it, girls. What are your words or phrases for females? Let's start with females first.
Mother, pretty, caring, gentle, and emotional.
They're better at this than us.
Yeah.
All right, good job. What about males?
Males, slobs.
Slobs?
What we came up with unorganized. Big ego.
I'm pretty organized here.
Unorganized, big ego, hardworking, Jim.
Jim,
Yeah.
okay.
Loud.
Loud?
Yeah.
All right, okay, all right. Sometimes immature, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So give us your list now. What's your list?
All right, Roy, go ahead. You can rattle them off. I'm not getting yelled at here. For the males, let's just talk about ourselves. So we talked about macho, like macho,
Big shot, hot shot.
big shot, hot shot,
So
yeah.
we got a big
Bro.
ego. Basically, big ego is what we all want.
Big ego. Oh, I
Yeah,
don't know
that's
about
like
that.
self.
Buddy, we said buddy.
Buddy, yeah,
Why are you
yeah.
guys using titles?
Pow.
Yeah.
You guys were going by names you call each other, not
Yeah.
your traits. What do you do it?
What else did we say? I think we said brave, right? I think we said brave. Like in every story that you see, like with superheroes or anything, it's like, oh, you got the brave person, the brave male that's going to save the female, the damsel in distress, right? What did we say about females?
Yeah, Roy, what'd you say?
Yeah, Roy.
It's not what I said, it's what Bone.
Whoa, 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 whoa!
Mr. Bowman?
Throwing me under the.
Better
Yeah.
watch your mouth, I
I was fine, I was moving to the first.
What'd you
I
say,
didn't-
Mr. Bowman?
Roy said drama queen,
That's because what.
Princess.
Roy.
emotional. I think we said emotional.
Well, I'm getting emotional about these traits.
Oh, see, all right, okay. What else did we say? Feisty.
I
Okay.
love how we went
Someone
with,
said
we went with like
something.
mother, caring, gentle,
Just
pretty,
like
and
that.
you're right with drama
Look,
queen.
look,
Hey,
look,
you
look,
criticized
look. There
the
we go,
males
there we
too.
go.
Yeah, you did. There's a lot of criticisms here.
Leah was being feisty.
What else do we say?
Listen, I'm a little sassy. It's part of my personality.
What else did we say? We said
You're missing a
about-
word.
Yeah, not a male dog. Oh, I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
I'll fill it.
Oh,
See?
You didn't
Feisty.
catch that one, Bree.
yeah. Okay.
You didn't
All
catch
right. Okay. We had fun here with that, and obviously we show aggression towards one another. We get emotional about some of these things when we are depicted by the opposite sex,
that.
right?
Oh
The
my God.
opposite gender. So that kind of goes along well with the lesson of what I was trying to get at with that. So multiple masculinities. This was a book called Guiling. I thought this was interesting, and they just interviewed 400 men that were from the East Coast, right around the ages of going into high school, into college, and they had to come up with behaviors. They had to come up with different types of things that they liked about women, what they wanted their ideal, let's say, land or their ideal place would be. And I'm sure you guys can understand where that's going, right? So these men, they wanted it to be tied with video games, sports, okay, sexual conquests, okay, girls that are in terms of easy, right? Often hookups. And again, that's kind of like at that time in 1987, moving to 1990s. All right, this was something that was ideal for all males, and many cases today still. Obviously, we're trying to make more of a disconnect with obviously our advertising, the way media is presented, to try to gear away from this type of mentality of males. But at the time, this was big. This was huge, and still cases today. I'm sure you guys would have came up with hogs, right? For some of those terms or phrases you would have came up with, right? Or pigs.
I said slobs.
You did okay. That's true. That's right around the same
We
thing.
should put frat though.
What do you say?
Frat.
Frat? No. Okay.
This is a frat.
Yeah, it's like every.
All right, all right. There used to be commercials for different. There used to be one commercial that stuck out to me when I was thinking about this topic and Guyland. It was a Budweiser commercial back in the day, and this was big when I was younger. And like late '90s, this Budweiser commercial. It would talk about football. It would talk about getting together with your friends. And it would talk about big hits and sacks. And it would talk about really just, I guess, say the brutality of football. And it would talk about drinking beer. It would talk about eating hot wings, pizza, and talk about women. Talk about girls.
Isn't that still what
Dressed up.
commercials for guys are?
Not really, not really, not anymore. You don't see that anymore too often. I mean, if you find one, let me know. I like to see, but you don't see it often anymore. What's that?
Talking about
With masculinities and how these commercials in the '90s especially were shifted towards this type of masculinity. Anymore, you don't see it often. But depicting women as, like in the video anyways, cheerleaders with their bosoms out. But anyway, that was one thing that kind of stuck out to me at a young age. I was like, I still remember that commercial. And it just goes to show the time framing of where we're at today compared to then. And even with, let's say, WWE, I know I was a big WWE guy, still am, yeah. But back then, it was a lot crazier, right? There's divas that would constantly walk out in the matches. They'd have bra and panty matches, which was crazy. Here I am at a young age. Whoa, this is unbelievable. Oh, she's not compared to the girls back then, like Trish Stratus and Stacy Keebler, and oh man, you went Kelly Kelly.
Oh my god.
Do you know Kelly Kelly?
Yeah.
Really?
My dad
What about Lita?
No.
Oh, Lita was one of the baddest ones. Anyway, that's what I was kind of getting with Guyland. It's totally, you say we're trying to shift out of that type of mentality, especially with the commercialing and ads and different types of entertainment that's being expressed in media today. But when I was younger, it was no holds barred. Really, it was crazy, to be honest. What's up, Leah?
I love how it says the perilous world where boys become men, but really that's them staying boys.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. And my girlfriend often talks about this when my one friend comes over that I went to college with. I was roommates with. She's like, "You guys are pigs. You guys are hogs." I'm like, "What? Calm down. Right? We're not saying anything out of the ordinary. It's like man talk, right? Boy talk. That's kind of what they say, or locker room talk. I'm sure you guys heard of that example before, right? Yeah. All right. So I had another activity for you guys. I think this one's interesting. The girl holding up the mail and like have like crossed around her as they're kissing, and then holding her up like
It's like
baby.
but this roles are switched.
Yeah. I think that's kind of funny to look at, but again, that's kind of just showing with transgressions and how maybe the roles are switched, these gender roles. And for us, we look at it and they're like, wait a minute, this doesn't seem right. Okay,
You
this
know,
doesn't
where's
seem
the
right at all.
pants?
Yeah, this is the case. The woman wears the pants here. I think this one cracks me up.
No, I didn't see it. I just think it's funny.
Right? Yeah, you kind of get a
I
chuckle
wouldn't
out of
think
it.
it's odd. I just think it would be like.
Yeah.
I think it was like a joke.
Yeah, they were trying to be funny.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Like if you're walking down the street and saw it, you're like, oh, I'm pretty funny. Yeah. Here's some other examples of it. I thought this was funny. This one here. All right. Okay. All right. So where were we at here? Transgressions. So transgressions, engaging actions, behaviors, or feelings that seem to transgress from defined gender social norms. And with those pictures, that kind of showed that relation where you typically don't see males acting in this feminine way or this caring emotional way. More you see it towards the women. And with society, that kind of shaped us really since we've been young. And just with the Spider-Man trailer, right, Roy? We compare it with that, with Peter Parker jumping off the edge and trying to save MJ from falling to her death. It just goes to show the heroics of males and how they have to be masculine, how they have to show their strong will in these certain situations. And Disney especially is trying to transgress from that as you see more women superheroes and things like that, right? Especially at the end of Avengers Endgame, all the women come together. Look pretty cool. Pretty neat. All right. So trans means differentiate. Okay, it means like it's interchangeable. It's crossing the norms that we know and the social constructs that is kind of developed within our society. So trans just means interchangeable. That it's kind of crossing that threshold of what we understand as a social construct. And these are just a few terms of what does that mean. So transvestite, someone dresses an opposite gender of their not cross-dressed. Transgender, someone who believes they're born in the wrong body. And transsexual, transgender person who has undergone gender reassignment surgery. And that's a good example with what we talked about with that David Ryan, right? Remember that? Okay. And how that reassignment surgery was trying to be conforming him towards a more feminine role, a womanly role. And we all know with nature versus nurture, that debate, some cases it's hard to break that mold, that nature idea of genetics and innate abilities and certain traits and personalities even. Okay, the hormone releases obviously with that idea that with David Reimer, what we talked about. Again, trans just means crossing, interchangeable, right? That it's crossing the certain gender threshold. All right, is there any questions on that, guys? I know we went through a lot coming towards the end of the period here. With the different types of multiple masculinities, gender discrimination, and how that is kind of viewed as taboo in some cultures and countries around the world. And in our case, in the United States here, how it's being more accepted. All right. There you go.